So, the drop at is tomorrow at 11:59, and our class is at 5 o'clock. So we know that there could be a lot of questions, and you don't have a lot of time. So we figured we have this session. That's information. It's a very informal time. You can ask questions. You can learn about the structure of the class, so that if it does fit into your schedule and your plans, it's great. But we figured that we would offer this opportunity. Okay. So really quickly, I think we're going to get a few more people in. What we're going to do is run through just like what the class's structure is going to be about, and then answer your questions. We'll have some demos here if you would like to try VR if you haven't done it before, but that's about all we have planned. Okay? Is there any questions or thoughts before we get in? All right, come on in, grab a seat. What we're going to talk about, very quick, 3 parts. We're going to give a brief structure of the class. 2, open up the questions for you all. And then 3, if you want to try out one of the experiences, we have that here. Okay, let me go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, so what this class is about is very little about VR, a lot more about social good, storytelling. Okay, so what we are going to talk about, what we are going to do, what this class is really going to, it's about connecting 2 groups of people. We are going to connect people who are what we call seekers, people who have problems that they think might be solved with VR. The people are going to be from all across campus. They're going to be researchers, they're going to be for-profits or non-profits. And we want to connect them, those are the seekers. They think that VR could help them, and we can connect them to solvers, the people who can build VR. That's you all in 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, you will have the skill set to build your first VR application. Whether you know how to program or not, doesn't matter. None of that, if you have no programming, you can be any major, any year. We've had freshmen come in the first semester, do great in this class, okay? We train you, so we're gonna connect these folks together here. So what you're going to do in this class is we're going to start project 1 on day 1. That's tomorrow at 5. We'll give you assignment 1. You've got 6 weeks. Basically, you get to learn how to build your first VR app using a program called Unity. If you're familiar with that game engine, it requires no programming. And if you know how to program, that's great. But if you don't, we've had plenty of students complete this without that. Basically, you get a project, and you will build your own project in the first 6 weeks of class. At the end of this, you'll get to demo your project. It's on your phone using Google Cardboard. We'll provide Google Cardboard if you don't have one. We have plenty for the class. You will get to build your first VR app around a social good. So we're building VR to address social good topics. Okay, we want to tackle. So as Dr. Sri has often said, we're not trying to help Nike sell more shoes. We're trying to tackle big social good problems. We want to see whether VR, which is a newer technology, at the consumer level, can they help us. So now, this is tomorrow. We're going to start project 1. You're going to learn Unity and how to message. Dr. Sri is going to talk a lot about messaging strategies. I'll talk about the technology. We'll lecture. You're going to choose a social good topic. You're going to implement that virtual world, and then you're going to actually demo and we're going to have a demo day. I think that demo day is October 2nd, where everybody shows off their project in class. On September 18th, though, that's a big day. It's called Pitch Day. We're going to have people from all across campus come in, and they're going to pitch their ideas. We have researchers, we've got librarians, we've got people from the museum, we've got
people from even outside.
Yes, right.
Yeah, more people.
Somebody just drove in here from Tampa. She's going to pitch an idea about teaching the dangers of vaping to middle schoolers. So that's an example. So we've got people from all over. They're going to come in and they're going to pitch their idea to you, and you all get to form teams, self-form teams. You form your own teams and choose the project you want to work on. Okay, and that's September 18th until the end of the semester, until the final demo, which is December 14th, the last day of classes during our finals time. December 14th, 10 to 12, we'll have the demo day. It's a big extravaganza. Last semester it was crazy. Well, we're going to have it this year at the Florida Museum of Natural History. They're going to house this. We're going to have 30 tables. We anticipate having 500 people plus coming by to come see your projects. So it'll be a really big, it'll be a fun time where you all get to demo your work. But that's the overall structure of the class. Okay, so first 6 weeks, we expect you to come in with nothing. If you do, that's great, but we don't expect it. 6 weeks, you gotta come in here, you will learn the basics of building your first VR application and deploying it in Google Cardboard. Then you will form teams, so you hear the pitches. Until the end of the semester, you're going to work on that project, and we'll do a demo of it.
Any special hardware will be required?
Great question about the hardware. So we have There's going to be two major types of hardware that we have. We've got mobile VR, which are going to be things that run on the phone. And then we've got more computer-based VR, like a Oculus Rift or HTC Vive, for example, the one that you see over there. We have at Marston Science Library and in Infinity Hall stations set up. The universities bought the equipment and all, so that we have stations for all the projects that we work on. Typically, half the projects use a mobile platform because your person pitching the idea wants it to be deployable on phones. And then half the groups will use something like an HTC Vive or Rift. But we have all that equipment. If you have your own at home, that's great, and you're welcome to use that. But we have enough. We have that equipment available in Infinity Hall and in Marston Science Library, at the MAID at UF Labs at both places, and that's where you can use development. If you use their machines, you might, and depending on how many groups we have, and depending on that, we might have a scheduling system to make sure that everybody gets enough time on it. But the university has enough equipment for it.
What kind of topics are you looking at actually?
Okay, great question. So Shri, you want to tackle?
Okay, so this is something that Dr. Locke and we've been working on for a few years. And so, we decided to come up with something which is like really relevant socially and societally, right? So we want to look at it in terms of how can we harness the power of new media and technologies, and especially in terms of immersive technologies. And several of you probably know that till just recently, till a few years ago, virtual reality was not very scalable, right? So VR is now very scalable, and there's a lot of excitement. And Dr. Locke is one of the pioneers in this area, has been doing this for 20 plus years. I've been looking at the messaging aspects of new technologies for quite some time, more or less the same time. So we said, let's look at, like, what do we really mean by social good, right? So what we decided to do was, how do we operationalize what social good is, right? It could be something which is somewhat cliched. It could be something which many people have different ways of thinking about what social good is. So we said it makes sense to look at it from the perspective of the United Nations Sustainable Goals Program. So there are 17 sustainable goals. These are quite broad. These pretty much include most of the important areas which are of huge global concern, right? So it's not something which is just restricted to one region or something like that. It might obviously be prevalent in some regions more so than others, but this is what we mean by the social good. So what we are now doing is, we are asking the so-called seekers, right? So what is this class about? We'll just get to the next slide so you'll get a sense of that. So what we're really doing is, we are trying to bring about this marriage between what we refer to as the seekers and the solvers. You're all the solvers, right? So you're all the people who are going to be providing a solution to a problem that the seekers have. So the seekers will come to you and say, here is an idea that we have, here's a problem statement that we have, and here's the reason why we think this could be a useful solution to try out using virtual reality, right? And obviously they have run this past us. And so we invite them, and so this is what they will come and do on September 18th, what Dr. Locke was talking about, right? That's pitch day. So the seekers are also, alternately known as the pitchers or product owners. It's all the same term, right? But essentially what we're trying to do is, we are saying that this class is very simple in its fundamental form. We are looking at the relationship, the synergy that exists between the seekers and the solvers, which then results in a good product being built, right? And so who could be the seekers? So these are the type of people who are going to be coming in. So these could be innovators, these could be, like Dr. Locke mentioned, there are librarians, there are researchers, there are people who don't do research but who are faculty members, there are like social entrepreneurs. So anybody who can really make a case for how it has some value in terms of the social good, that's what we're really looking at here, right? And you'll learn all this, so we can move on with this, and then Dr. Locke went through this, and then here is what you're going to be getting out of this. So that's like a really important question that crops up, right? So, why do we think this is such a unique class? And Dr. Locke will talk about some of the great experiences we've already had. We've been teaching for around 20 years. Last semester, when we had a demo day where we had more than 300 people attend, we've never seen such vibrancy in any classroom-related project, right? It was just amazing to see all that. There was just so much talent gathered in one space, and there was just so much of excitement. The air was just electric, right? So you learn so many things. It's not just about VR, right? There's a very important messaging component here, right? So that's what we're talking about. It's not just about the technology. The technology is just like the means to an end. right? You want to be thinking about it in terms of what makes for the most effective story and how do you come up with that story, right? So what types of messages do you bring to the picture? So this is really like a class where we are saying that technology meets like social science, right? So that's the way we think about this. Okay, so you're learning about how to work on something, then it's not only the technology you're learning principles of the basics of persuasion, you're learning to work together in teams, you're learning in terms of how to apply to a particular issue, you're building like a completely innovative product, and you're going to be working with some very talented people themselves. And so this has like a range of benefits, right? So that's about it. And then if you want to think about it in terms of what could be some of the outcomes that have already resulted in.
So we've had, we taught this class, Dr. Street did it in the summer, then we did it in the fall and the spring. So we've had about 170 students go through. We've had students who have joined research teams, who've been on research publications. One of the students actually got picked up by Oculus's Launchpad 100. So one of 100 projects, he picked one of the projects that came from the class, and he's flown out to San Francisco. So really, there's an opportunity here to join and to take it any direction that you want to go, right? So we really want to inspire you all to say, hey, this is a different type of class. You're going to be sitting next to people with very different skill sets, because this class is not only listed in computer science, it's also listed in journalism. So you want to have some people with expertise in narrative design, and so we're going to be working on teams that have different expertise working on, and you're going to be working on something that we don't know whether it'll work. And there's a lot of unknowns here, but then working on that, I think will really be a very unique experience that again could lead to opportunities if you're ever interested in research or pursuing this. You want to start a company or these sort of ideas. A lot of the skill sets that you'll learn.
And so why are we having this information session today? Because do not be sort of revealed into the nature of this class. Say we have so good, it sounds so cool. It is. It's not. It just doesn't sound cool, but it's also really cool. This class, you'll get a lot out of it. But at the same time, it requires a lot of commitment and dedication, right? So if you come into this thinking that it's going to be like a piece of cake, it's not. Dr. Locke is also like an expert in the agile methodology, so that's what we'll be following here. So that's again something which you're actually learning to implement within the course of just one semester. So you'll be going through different iterations and sprints. So that's another valuable skill that you add here too. But it can get quite intense. And keep in mind that you're going to be working in teams. So